What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium. I'm back to talk about the movie Totally Killer. And was it totally killer indeed? Yes, it just might have been. I heard a little bit of murmurs about this film. You know, it's not full on mainstream, but everybody in the horror community was just like, you know what? This could actually be pretty good. And a lot of people that saw it said it's actually pretty good. Did I think it was good, though? A lot of times, even if it's rated R, when they do these, and they seem to be doing these lately with the, like go back in time type of movies, like kind of like Happy Death Day. And then I just saw It's a Wonderful Life this year, which was a pile of shit, for instance. And I'm kind of, going into this one, even though this came out before It's a Wonderful Life, I'm just now getting to it, going into it with the mindset of just like, okay, Happy Death Day. And I think there's been one or two other ones I'm not remembering right now that are in the somewhat recent future that I was kind of like, a lot of people like these. I'm not a big fan of that. And then It's a Wonderful Life. I'm like, damn, man, you had it. And the pieces are always there. Could make for some fun, but it never quite adds up with me. But happy to say this one did. Totally Killer is a ton of fucking fun. And where, as a movie, not to pick on this movie because I already have a lot, I don't know if y'all have seen It's a Wonderful Life that just came out, as I just said, but it tried to be funny. It felt forced. Happy Death Day, the other one that I at least can remember. I know there's others, but the one that's like fresh on my mind, that's like the big one because it came out the sequel and everything. There's moments hit or miss, but overall the comedy doesn't land. This one, believe me when I say, it is downright stupid, but it is playing on that stupid comedy very well because it's playing on, for instance, we're in this more woke modern era, and the girl in the movie has to go all the way back, I don't know, 20, 30 years, whatever it is, and people in the 80s, and again, I think it's the 80s, I forget exactly, she's got to go back in time to her mom's high school, basically. And I don't know how much in the trailers. I never watched a trailer. I'm not going to give away too much more than that. But she's got to go back in time. We'll say the 80s. Somewhere in that general distinction, people. And you see certain things that just seem so moronic right now that I can actually agree with. And that makes it funny because they're so just numb to the fact of like, good Lord, like, you cannot do that. But we're in present time 80s, so it makes sense why they would do that. But then there's other things too where it kind of pokes fun. I feel like the wokeness of the day where it's just like, well, why would you care about that? This is coming from like the people in the 80s in the movie. Like, what do you mean? Like, what are you even talking about? Where I feel like it pokes fun the other way. So I have a lot of fun with the things that transpire and the tropes that they kind of play into, not because they're tropes, they're playing on the tropes. It's playing on the wokeness. It's playing on the, I think it meets somewhere nicely in the middle, at least to me, and in terms of that, which is nice for me because I'm someone who meets kind of in the middle. Like, it doesn't have to be full on like, oh, they're changing everything, but it also doesn't have to be full on, let's change everything, because you can overcorrect too. So I think there's a nice balance and there's a lot of fun with that. So like, don't watch this movie and you're like, look how dumb that character's meant to be dumb, obviously. Like, look how fucking over the top this woke scene is. It's meant to be that way. When it feels again like that Hollywood checklist where it's just like, here's this, here's that, here's that. And it's like, where is this coming from? Why is this being forced in the movie? In this movie, it's fun because they poke fun at it and play on that. And even if that was your agenda, if it blends into the movie well, I welcome it. So I had a lot of fun with all of those aspects of it. The kills and everything in this movie didn't really hold back. I mean, there's nothing like downright gruesome, but a lot of times I'll say this much, even in It's a Wonderful Life, even though there's a lot of blood in that movie and it's rated R, I believe Happy Death Day and the second one, maybe the second one's R, I can't remember, but I believe at least the first one's PG-13. There's something about the vibe of these killers, and there's a go back in time, Back to the Future-esque premise, which they even bring up one time. I know, spoiler alerts, people know, not a big spoiler. They even bring up one time in this movie about Back to the Future. It's pretty funny. But it seems as if, like, yes, even if there's more graphic kills, even if there's more adult premises amongst us, there is something about the films, even if they're not PG-13, there's a very PG-13 feel / formula. This one somehow manages to add in the comedy, adds in, like the fun, fun nature slasher movies where it's not downright serious. You have to play with this premise a little bit. It's able to do both of those things, all while feeling like it's encapsulating that R rating to a T, which is really cool and which is really rewarding. And it's something that takes me out of the other ones, its predecessors of other ones within this subgenre that shouldn't be a subgenre, but it seems like it keeps growing. It seems like every year I see something like this where a girl's got to take over a killer and she's got to go back in time to do it, yada, yada, the crazy fucking plot like that. But this one feels R. It's not necessarily a hard R, but it is definitely R, and I never lose sight of that. I think the actors and actresses all do really well in this movie. The killer doesn't look super fucking cool or anything, but it fits the scheme of what they're going for. And I like, what the killer's, calling card. I think that's, it's nothing special, but it's cool. It adds a little flavor to it for the killer to have a calling card with all his kills. I won't reveal what that is. Of course, with the characters too, the actors like Lachlan Monroe, I've always had a soft spot for this guy. He was always funny as hell to me in Dead Man on Campus, super underrated comedy. Funny as hell, and fucking, Night at the Roxbury, of course, like the original Scary Movie. This is a dude that was really underrated in terms of comedies and like little scenes. Anytime he showed up in a movie, I had a lot of fun with him. And of course, in the horror community, we've seen him in like Freddy vs. Jason. He doesn't really get a lot of shine anymore, so it's cool to see him in the role as the dad. And overall, guys, they just have a lot of fun with this movie. And as, being part of the audience, like all the little tropes and things they poke fun at, so often, more than not, like I said, they feel so forced. In this movie, it felt funny. It felt authentic. I had a blast from start to finish. I do have to give this a great score. And a lot of times with these types of movies, I don't even give them a good score. If I do, it's like a barely good score. But this one just exceeded expectations. I see why people are talking it up now. And you'd be like, oh, well, you saw people talking up, so you had to know it was going to be good. No, I've seen a lot of these types of movies talked up, but for whatever reason, they just don't quite work for me. This one really hit a home run of the subgenre. I know it's not a 10 out of 10, but to get an 8 out of 10 with this type of movie, not that they're not capable of being 8 out of 10s in the future, but the ones I've seen prior, this one just nailed it. So if you're not a fan of these types of movies, in the past that they've came out with, at least give this one a chance. And if you are, you think it's up your alley and you haven't seen it for some reason, like I hadn't to this point, definitely check it out. Totally Killer is, well, like I said, totally fucking killer, dude. Great fucking movie. Definitely check it out. One of the best slasher movies of the year, for sure. Unlike It's a Wonderful Life. What's a Wonderful Knife? I gotta stop calling it that because that's another movie that's trying to do a play on. Did I do that earlier in this video? Oh my God. Should have learned from that too, dude. Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin. Can't do that. Anyways, guys, love y'all. Peace. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Got a comment. Peace.